Good morning. Welcome back to Global Media Network. Educate, enlighten, entertain. Passionate World Talk Radio is a wholly owned internet talk radio station subsidiary of Global Media Network. And today, on Lest We Forget Historical with Lillian Cauldwell, we're going to discuss how to keep those New Year's resolutions that one keeps on promising themselves that they will follow through with, but somehow by the second week of January, your resolve weakens and they never get accomplished. The information I'm sharing with you today comes from the Cleveland Clinic in Cleveland, Ohio. And this is what they have to say about this by Susan Albe-Bowling, who is a psychologist. And she says, people tend to set the same exact resolution year after year, which shows the gap between what we do and what we want. But you can use psychology to fill in that gap and figure out how to change your habits to make your resolutions stick. So I'm going to tell you how to go about doing it with help from Susan Albe-Bowling. The first thing is you have to remember that change is a process, and processes take time. So to make sure that this year is different and resolved, not old history or old baggage, you must stick to your resolution. So these are the psychological steps she recommends. Focus on starting a new habit rather than quitting an old one. Choose realistic goals that are sustainable for the long term. Make sure your goals are specific and measurable, not vague. Vague doesn't work. Be flexible and open to changing them along the way if you need to. Identify the obstacles that might get in the way of your success and partner up with an accountability buddy. Now, they do this also when you are trying to lose weight or anything else for that matter, because support is your number one ally. To move more, I'm going to stop watching so much TV because TV can turn into a bad habit. I'm going to do yoga 2 times or 3 times a week because it's the best policy, like planning out your meals in little portions along the day instead of just 3 large portions, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 2, set realistic, livable goals. Choosing an unrealistic goal sets the stage for failure. I bet you've heard that. You're setting yourself up for failure. Your resolution should reflect an activity or behavior you can do for in the long term, meaning that you'll keep on trying to accomplish and get that goal resolved. Fad dieting, for example, isn't something that anyone can realistically keep up, Dr. Albert says. You're better positioned for success if you focus on something like mindful eating, where you can focus on sustainable behaviors based on food choices, how and when you can eat. And the same holds true for other types of resolutions. For example, if you're brand new to working out, don't start with a grueling new routine like 75 hard, but instead commit to 30 minutes of exercise 3 times a week. If you're trying to scale back on going out to eat, you're probably not going to stick to a promise like, I won't eat at restaurants at all this year. But you may have an easier time if only going out to eat 3 times a month. If you haven't read a single book in years, you're not likely to achieve a lofty goal of finishing 50 books for 2024. 5, though, is probably well within your reach. Give yourself some wiggle room and be willing to adjust your goals as needed. If, for example, you resolve to exercise 20 minutes every day, but today happens to be the busiest, most chaotic day ever, don't beat yourself up about you're not going to do 15 or 20 minutes. Just do 5 or 10 minutes. Be flexible and forgiving of yourself. Dr. Albert says that can help you avoid feeling frustrated later. Identifying obstacles. Consider what's likely to get into your way of achieving your resolution. You probably already know what your potential gain pain points are, whether they're physical obstacles, not having enough time, or emotional obstacles like fear. Sometimes the solutions are practical ones. If you're trying to order takeout less often or scale back on your social media use, delete the apps from your phone. If you never want to exercise by the end of the day, start doing morning workouts. I do stretches, 10 minutes in the morning and in the evening before I go to bed. You get the gist. But if your obstacles are of the mental and emotional variety, you may have to put in an extra effort to bring a healthy mindset to your new healthy habits. If you're prone to negative thinking, get into doing positive affirmations. It works. You attract more positivity in your life if you're thinking positive thoughts than if you keep yourself confined to negativity. If you're hard on yourself about perceived failures, practice self-compassion. Your compassion with your family and with your friends, whilst now it's time to be compassionate about yourself. If you hate that you're not seeing results, work on dealing with perfectionism. We all have a streak of it. I have a son who's a famous artist, and when he went through school, he kept on throwing out all his paintings and drawings that he didn't consider perfect, and he got into a lot of trouble for it because he never turned in assignments. Well, you don't have to be that way. Set your phone or calendar to send push notifications reminding you of your goal. We have the push notifications. Every time something's added, my messenger goes ding, and it tells me that something has come in from a retailer trying to sell me stuff I don't need. Add your goal to the to-do list along with your chores and errands. Track your progress. Keep data to help you track your progress, but it can also help you on days where it's not going well, says Dr. Albers. Looking back over time to see how you're doing can help keep you motivated. She suggests keeping a journal or tracking your progress on an app. If your goal is focused on exercise, for instance, there are numerous apps to log your activity. Ditto for food-based resolutions. But you don't necessarily need a solution that's specific to your resolution. Try a habit tracking app or journal to make it easy to keep track of what you've been up to. Try setting an intention instead of a resolution. There's something to be said for setting specific goals, but there are other ways to focus on self-improvement as well. If you're not in the mood to pick a New Year's resolution in the traditional sense, Dr. Albert says, you could try to set an intention instead. This might include, for example, I want to be more positive, or I'm going to be more adventurous. Focus on starting your behavior. Research does indicate that it's easier to start a behavior than to stop one. So instead of resolving to quit something, resolve to begin doing something else. This is called an approach goal versus an avoidance goal. If you want to eat healthier, for example, your resolution could be to increase your fruit and vegetables intake rather than avoid processed food or to cut out sugar, Dr. Albers explains. Here are some other examples of how to flip the script from stopping a behavior to starting one. Another take on eating healthier can turn "I won't order takeout anymore" into "I will cook at home at least 4 nights a week." To replace a negative habit with a positive one, a worthy goal like "I'm going to cut out soda" might instead become "I'm going to drink 8 ounces of water every day." Vague goals like exercise more, drink less, and cut back on sugar are impossible to quantify. Instead, it's important to set small, actionable goals that are well defined. Resolutions should be concrete. Instead of making a broad resolution to exercise more, make a specific goal that you want to walk for 20 minutes a day. Give yourself an achievable target. Have you heard of SMART goals? This acronym helps you set and achieve goals that are S, specific, M, measurable, A, attainable, R, relevant, T, time-bound. When you're choosing to come up with your New Year's resolutions, set yourself up for success by choosing a SMART goal from the very start. I want to thank everyone for joining us this year of 2023 and hope you continue coming in and listening to our programs. You can see this video and hear it all over again, of course, on our blog at https://passionateworldtalkradio.com. Also on youtube.com/PWR network _PW Talk Radio and PW Network LLC. We have both the speaking, the audio, and the video. And you can also find it on iTunes, iHeart, Spreaker, Audio Acrobat, to name a few more. Next year, 2024, we want to hear from our listening audience. Please text us with suggestions of what you would like to hear about Lest We Forget -historical. Our phone number is 484-364-1032. We also have a new host joining us, and she will be in the realm of the spiritual /holistic. Please come and join us again. And a happy new year from Passionate World Talk Radio, a wholly owned subsidiary of Global Media Network, LLC.